Part 4, Echoes of Despair. The forest seemed to shift and change with each passing day, its sinister presence an ever-growing shadow over Alex and Bulbasaur. The defeat of the spectral guardian left them weary, but their bond had been forged stronger in the fires of adversity. They pressed on, determined to find the next piece of the puzzle and put an end to the malevolent force haunting the forest. The trail led them deeper into the heart of the forest, towards a place known in local legends as Hollow Grove. The air grew colder and the light dimmer as they approached, the trees seeming to twist and bend, forming an almost impenetrable barrier. Alex and Bulbasaur moved cautiously, their senses heightened by the palpable tension in the air. As they ventured deeper, the whispers returned, more insistent and ominous than before. They spoke of doom and despair, of lives lost and hopes shattered. Alex tried to block them out, focusing on the path ahead. They knew they couldn't afford to lose their resolve now. In the midst of the grove, they found a clearing with an ancient stone altar at its center. Carved into the altar were runes similar to those they had seen in the underground chamber, hinting at a connection between the two places. Alex approached cautiously, feeling a strange energy emanating from the stone. Suddenly, a shadowy figure materialized in front of the altar. It was a tall, cloaked figure with eyes that glowed like embers in the darkness. The figure's presence exuded a menacing aura, making Alex's blood run cold. "You should not have come here," the figure intoned, its voice echoing with a supernatural resonance. "This place is cursed, and those who seek its secrets are doomed to suffer." Alex swallowed hard, their resolve wavering for a moment. "We have no choice. We need to find a way to stop the darkness spreading through this forest." The figure laughed, a hollow, chilling sound. "Very well, but know this. The path you tread is fraught with peril. The shadows will test you in ways you cannot imagine." Determined to press on, Alex and Bulbasaur descended further into the grove, the trees closing in around them like the walls of a labyrinth. The light of the blood moon barely penetrated the dense canopy, casting long, eerie shadows that seemed to move and shift on their own. They moved cautiously, every step echoing with the sense of impending danger. The air grew colder, and a thick mist began to rise from the ground, obscuring their vision. Alex felt a shiver run down their spine, but they pressed on, their grip tightening on Bulbasaur's vines for reassurance. Suddenly, a shrill scream pierced the silence, causing Alex and Bulbasaur to freeze. They looked around, trying to locate the source of the sound, but the mist made it impossible to see more than a few feet ahead. "Stay close," Alex whispered, their voice trembling with fear. Bulbasaur nodded, its eyes wide with alertness. As they moved forward, the mist began to part, revealing a small, desolate village nestled within the grove. The buildings were old and crumbling, their windows shattered and doors hanging ajar. It was clear that this village had been abandoned for a long time, but the presence of the scream suggested that they were not alone. The village was eerily silent, save for the occasional creak of wood and rustle of leaves. Alex and Bulbasaur moved cautiously through the narrow streets, their senses on high alert. The oppressive atmosphere made it hard to breathe, and the shadows seemed to close in around them, whispering secrets of the past. As they entered the village, the blood moon cast an eerie red glow over the dilapidated buildings. Each house was a crumbling relic of a time long gone, with broken windows and doors hanging ajar. The sense of abandonment was palpable, yet there was a lingering presence that made Alex's skin crawl. The village seemed to pulse with a dark, malevolent energy, and every step they took felt like an intrusion. The air was thick with a musty, decaying smell, and the ground was covered in a thin layer of fog that swirled around their ankles. The silence was so profound that Alex could hear their own heartbeat, a rapid thump-thump that mirrored the tension in their chest. Bulbasaur pressed close to Alex, its eyes wide and alert, every muscle in its small body tensed and ready to react. They came across a house that looked slightly more intact than the others. The door was ajar, and a faint light flickered from within. Alex hesitated for a moment before pushing the door open and stepping inside. The interior was dark and musty, filled with the remnants of a life long abandoned. Furniture lay broken and decayed, and the walls were covered in thick layers of dust and cobwebs. At the center of the room, a single candle burned, casting a weak, flickering light that created long, dancing shadows on the walls. Alex's breath caught in their throat. Who had lit the candle, and why? The questions hung in the air, unanswered and unsettling. As they moved deeper into the house, the floorboards creaked underfoot, the sound echoing through the empty rooms. Each step felt like a violation of the silence that had held this place captive for so long. A sudden chill ran down Alex's spine, and they turned to see a faded photograph hanging crookedly on the wall. It depicted a family, a mother, father, and 2 children, smiling warmly at the camera. The sight of their happy faces was jarring against the desolation of the present. What had happened to them? What had driven them away, or worse, ended their lives? As they moved deeper into the house, they found a staircase leading down to a cellar. The air grew colder and more oppressive as they descended, the darkness seeming to press in around them. Alex's flashlight flickered, casting eerie, wavering beams of light that barely penetrated the gloom. At the bottom of the stairs, they found a small chamber filled with strange, arcane symbols carved into the walls. The symbols glowed faintly, as if imbued with some ancient, malevolent power. Alex felt a shiver of fear and curiosity as they traced the lines with their fingers, the symbols telling a story of pain, loss, and vengeance. In the center of the chamber stood a pedestal, upon which lay a small, ornate box. Alex approached cautiously, feeling the dark energy emanating from the box. They reached out to open it, but as soon as their fingers touched the lid, a deep, guttural growl echoed through the chamber. From the shadows emerged a monstrous figure, its body twisted and grotesque. It was a Pokémon, but unlike any Alex had ever seen. Its form was shrouded in darkness, and its eyes glowed with a malevolent red light. It moved with unnatural speed and grace, its claws scraping against the stone floor as it advanced. Alex and Bulbasaur braced themselves, knowing they were in for the fight of their lives. "We have to defeat it, Bulbasaur. It's the only way to get the next piece of the puzzle." Bulbasaur nodded, stepping forward with determination. The monstrous Pokémon roared, its voice echoing through the chamber and shaking the very walls. It lunged at Bulbasaur, its claws slashing through the air with deadly precision. "Razor Leaf," Alex commanded. Bulbasaur unleashed a flurry of sharp leaves, striking the monster and causing it to recoil. But the creature was relentless, quickly recovering and launching another attack. It swiped at Bulbasaur with its massive claws, narrowly missing as Bulbasaur dodged to the side. "Vine Whip, now!" Alex shouted. Bulbasaur's vines shot out, wrapping around the creature's limbs and holding it in place. The monster thrashed and roared, but Bulbasaur held firm, its strength and determination unwavering. "Solar Beam!" Alex cried, their voice filled with desperation and hope. Bulbasaur began to gather energy, its bulb glowing brighter and brighter. The monster struggled against the vines, its eyes burning with rage. Just as it broke free, Bulbasaur unleashed the solar beam, a brilliant beam of light piercing through the darkness and striking the monster with devastating force. The creature let out a final, ear-splitting roar before disintegrating into a cloud of dark energy. The chamber fell silent, the oppressive darkness lifting as the light from Bulbasaur's solar beam faded. Alex approached the pedestal once more, their heart pounding. They opened the ornate box, revealing a small glowing crystal. The crystal pulsed with a strange, otherworldly light, its power palpable in the air. "This must be the second piece," Alex said, carefully lifting the crystal from the box. "We're one step closer to ending this nightmare." Bulbasaur nuzzled against Alex, its eyes filled with pride and determination. They had faced unimaginable horrors and emerged victorious, their bond stronger than ever. As they left the haunted village, the forest seemed to part before them, the path ahead illuminated by the soft glow of the crystal. They knew their journey was far from over, but for the first time, they felt a glimmer of hope. Together they would face whatever challenges lay ahead, their hearts united in their quest to banish the darkness from the forest once and for all. From the shadows emerged a monstrous figure, its body twisted and grotesque. It was a Pokémon, but unlike any Alex had ever seen. Its form was shrouded in darkness, and its eyes glowed with a malevolent red light. It moved with unnatural speed and grace, its claws scraping against the stone floor as it advanced. Alex and Bulbasaur braced themselves, knowing they were in for the fight of their lives. "We have to defeat it, Bulbasaur. It's the only way to get the next piece of the puzzle." Bulbasaur nodded, stepping forward with determination. The monstrous Pokémon roared, its voice echoing through the chamber and shaking the very walls. It lunged at Bulbasaur, its claws slashing through the air with deadly precision. "Razor Leaf," Alex commanded. Bulbasaur unleashed a flurry of sharp leaves, striking the monster and causing it to recoil. But the creature was relentless, quickly recovering and launching another attack. It swiped at Bulbasaur with its massive claws, narrowly missing as Bulbasaur dodged to the side. "Vine Whip, now!" Alex shouted. Bulbasaur's vines shot out, wrapping around the creature's limbs and holding it in place. The monster thrashed and roared, but Bulbasaur held firm, its strength and determination unwavering. "Solar Beam!" Alex cried, their voice filled with desperation and hope. Bulbasaur began to gather energy, its bulb glowing brighter and brighter. The monster struggled against the vines, its eyes burning with rage. Just as it broke free, Bulbasaur unleashed the solar beam, a brilliant beam of light piercing through the darkness and striking the monster with devastating force. The creature let out a final, ear-splitting roar before disintegrating into a cloud of dark energy. The chamber fell silent, the oppressive darkness lifting as the light from Bulbasaur's solar beam faded. The forest had grown darker and more menacing as Alex and Bulbasaur pressed on, guided by the faint glow of the crystal they had found in the haunted village. Their journey led them deeper into uncharted territory, where the trees were twisted and gnarled, their branches forming a tangled web that blocked out the moonlight. After what felt like hours of trudging through the oppressive darkness, they stumbled upon an old, overgrown path. The path seemed to beckon them forward, its cobblestones cracked and weathered by time. It led them to the edge of a small clearing where a dilapidated mansion stood, its once grand facade now crumbling and covered in ivy. The mansion's windows were shattered, and the door hung off its hinges, creaking eerily in the wind. A sense of unease washed over Alex as they approached the entrance. It felt as though the mansion itself was alive, watching their every move. "We have to go inside, Bulbasaur," Alex whispered, their voice barely audible over the rustling leaves. "There might be something here that can help us." Bulbasaur nodded, its eyes scanning the surroundings for any signs of danger. Together, they stepped into the mansion, the floorboards groaning under their weight. Inside, the mansion was a labyrinth of decaying rooms and corridors. The air was thick with dust, and the faint smell of mildew lingered. As they explored, they found remnants of the past, broken furniture, tattered curtains, and faded portraits of long-forgotten inhabitants. Each room told a story of opulence and tragedy, the echoes of happier times now overshadowed by the pervasive darkness. In the grand hall, they discovered a massive staircase that led up to the second floor. Alex's flashlight flickered as they ascended, casting long, shifting shadows on the walls. The atmosphere grew colder, and the sense of foreboding intensified with each step. At the top of the stairs, they found a locked door, its surface intricately carved with arcane symbols. Alex felt a strange pull towards it, as if something inside was calling out to them. They reached for the handle, but it wouldn't budge. "Looks like we'll need to find a key," Alex said, turning to Bulbasaur. "Let's search the rest of the mansion." They scoured the upper floors, moving from room to room in search of the key. In one room they found a dusty old piano, its keys yellowed and cracked. In another, a grand library with shelves lined with books, their spines cracked and pages brittle. Each room was a snapshot of a bygone era, frozen in time yet decaying with every passing moment. Finally, in a small study, they discovered a hidden compartment behind a bookshelf. Inside was a small, ornate key, its surface engraved with the same symbols as the door. "This must be it," Alex said, holding the key up to the light. "Let's go back and see what's behind that door." With the key in hand, they returned to the locked door and inserted it into the keyhole. The door creaked open, revealing a dark, narrow staircase leading down into the bowels of the mansion. The air grew colder still, and Alex felt a chill run down their spine. They descended cautiously, the stairs creaking underfoot. At the bottom, they found themselves in a large, dimly lit chamber. The walls were lined with shelves filled with strange artifacts and ancient scrolls. At the center of the room stood a pedestal, upon which lay a small, ornate box, similar to the one they had found in the haunted village. Alex approached the box, their heart pounding. "This must be the next piece," they whispered. "But what secrets does it hold?" As they reached out to open the box, a sudden gust of wind blew through the chamber, extinguishing their flashlight. The room was plunged into darkness, and Alex felt a cold, clammy hand grip their wrist. "Who's there?" Alex called out, their voice trembling. A deep, guttural voice echoed through the chamber. "You seek the box of secrets, but are you prepared for the truth it holds?" The grip on Alex's wrist tightened, and they struggled to pull free. Bulbasaur growled, its vines shooting out to strike at the unseen assailant. The room was filled with the sounds of struggle, the clinking of metal, and the rustling of ancient scrolls. Suddenly, the grip on Alex's wrist loosened, and the room fell silent. Alex fumbled for their flashlight, managing to turn it back on. The chamber was empty, save for the box on the pedestal. Breathing heavily, Alex opened the box, revealing another glowing crystal. But this one was different. Its light was dimmer, more subdued. It seemed to pulse with a faint, rhythmic glow, as if it were alive. "This crystal, it feels different," Alex said, holding it up to the light. "What does it mean?" Bulbasaur looked up at Alex, its eyes filled with concern and curiosity. Together they left the chamber, the weight of the crystal heavy in Alex's hand. As they emerged from the mansion, the forest seemed to shift around them, the shadows growing longer and darker. The box of secrets had given them another piece of the puzzle, but it had also raised more questions. What was the true nature of the crystals, and what did the malevolent presence they had encountered signify? Their journey was far from over, and the path ahead was more uncertain than ever. But with each step, Alex and Bulbasaur's bond grew stronger, their determination unwavering in the face of the darkness that sought to consume them. As they ventured deeper into the forest, the light of the crystal guiding their way, they couldn't shake the feeling that the answers they sought were closer than ever. But at what cost? The night was still and silent, the only sounds their footsteps and the distant call of a nocturnal Pokémon. The forest seemed to hold its breath, waiting for the next chapter of their journey to unfold. And Alex and Bulbasaur, united in their quest, were ready to face whatever lay ahead. Alex and Bulbasaur walked through the forest, their footsteps echoing in the newfound stillness. The air was lighter, but the weight of their mission still pressed upon them. The inscriptions in the temple hinted at a way to banish the darkness once and for all, but at a great personal cost. Alex couldn't shake the feeling that the price they would have to pay might be more than they were prepared for. Yet as they held the glowing crystal in their hands, a new determination burned within them. The path ahead was uncertain and filled with danger, but they would face it together. Their journey was far from over, and the true test of their bond and courage was yet to come. Alex looked at Bulbasaur and saw the same unwavering resolve reflected in its eyes. "We'll face whatever comes next, Bulbasaur, no matter the cost." Bulbasaur nodded, its eyes shining with trust and love. They knew that the road ahead would be perilous, but they were ready to face it together. The forest whispered around them, carrying the secrets of the past and the hopes of the future. As they stepped forward, the glow of the crystal lighting their way, they felt the forest's unseen eyes watching them, the darkness ahead promising challenges that would test them like never before.